Damn, we haven't had a story in a while. Especially one where I took a good dose of acid with my mum in the house, school the next morning, and knowing me, probably homework due as well. This was my very first acid trip and pretty much one of my first proper trips, so of course knowing nothing about safety or harm reduction, I took a whopping 170 microgram tab, which looking back was actually quite accurate. At first, I didn't really get any anxiety, I just started feeling really good and finding everything hilarious. Literally unable to stop laughing. It was rising up faster than my balls during a cold shower, and I really wanted to message my friend just how amazing this was. He ends up inviting me to play video games with him, and boy was that interesting. In the lobby chat of the first game, before we even started, I said I was tripping and someone replied, "Have you tried DMT?" And then they sent this link. I click it, it starts playing, and then the game begins. I'm starting to get really immersed, so basically asking my friend if random objects were moving or not. And then things start to get really melty. I start hearing voices and tribal-like music, not even realizing that I had the song playing in the background. It started sucking me into the experience of being my ancestors in the jungle. And then this part of the song happened, which got a bit intense, so I kinda jolted up and realized the music playing wasn't just the background sound to reality, and would you look at that, it hadn't always been playing since the beginning of time. When I paused it, it was like I was suddenly tripping way less. Thanks, Sprungle. So me and my friend go through a few games. I forgot my password to one of them, and the idea of having to check my email and set a new one literally sounded impossible. I spent like 5 minutes, which felt like hours doing my best, and just couldn't figure it out. Trying to use a computer was like a flat earther trying to fly a rocket. Eventually, I wanted some time alone because I felt like acid was sucking me into something, and every distraction was pulling me back into myself. What would happen if I just lied down and closed my eyes? Well, as I got sucked in, things started to get weird, and it felt like my current materialist worldview just didn't make sense anymore. How could this even be possible to experience? I really had no idea the rabbit hole was just getting started, and eventually got comfortable in the sea of psychedelic bliss. That was until my now ex-girlfriend got home from prom. See, before all this psychedelic stuff, your boy wasn't the least jealous of boyfriends, and that night, my ex did something that made me feel not so good. I watched all of these insecurities bubbling up and negative thought patterns playing out, and I could feel them solidified in my psyche. I realized that day that my whole life I'd been creating this story which wasn't actually the one true story, and I saw just how much my ego wanted it to be true. As I stared into my mirror, I watched these negative thoughts leaving me faster than my dad did. It felt like my mind was healing itself of so much bullshit that was buried in me, and I realized in that moment that I had a lot of skeletons. They really seemed endless. This path of actually shedding these skeletons out of me, it looked scarier, but it also looked more exciting, and it just felt right. I had to go through this journey if I wanted to heal all the parts of myself I'd always wanted to heal but never could. And that felt like total freedom. Now this was all good and great until I tried to go to sleep. Boys and girls, this is why you don't take acid in the late afternoon with school the next morning. No matter how many infinite sets of sheep you count, you're still on a psychedelic stimulant. So yeah, I didn't get any sleep and went to school the next day still tripping. What's crazy is on that day I was different, and it was kind of funny seeing people surprised expecting me to be more like my old self. Somehow within a day my personality had shifted in a whole new direction. I finally felt at peace with myself and wasn't nearly as worried about what other people thought of me anymore. This trip was really the foundation for my journey into using psychedelics as tools, since my trips before that were more recreational or just done out of curiosity. Whilst I personally had a really awesome experience, I got very lucky my mom didn't call me and everything else went my way. If you haven't tripped or taken acid before, I'd suggest taking a lower dose and making sure you're subscribed for everything psychedelics. Peace out everyone.